Good morning, my dear class 6 students. Students, here I am, your science teacher, Mrs. Aarti Negi, from your school, Vidya Bal Bhavan. Students, I hope all of you have enjoyed your holidays, the summer breaks, isn't it? Yes? Good, very good. I hope you have. And yes, I know that all of you are bounded, restricted at your homes due to this pandemic condition. And only because of this condition, again we are going through our online classes. So we will continue with the same manner as we were doing previously before your summer breaks. Okay? And one more thing, students, I hope all of you have completed your holiday homework, and soon I will provide you the time and the site. There you will have to submit your holiday homework, and accordingly I will assign you the marks on the basis of your work. Okay, so for our today's topic, let's take your book first, that is Exploring Science for class 6. And I must say, I have observed this book in your holidays time, and it is a very interesting book. Okay, so let's start, student. Let's come to its index part first. Already we have done chapter 1, food, where does it come from. Then second chapter, that is components of food, already we have done it. Now we are moving ahead with the chapter number 3, that is fabric to fiber. For that, open your book, page number A25. First, okay, let me give you the introduction of this chapter first. As you know, students, that in our daily life we used to have different types of things, like we use some fabric materials, some paper materials, some plastic things, some wooden materials. There are too many types of things that we use in our daily life, and in this chapter we are going to study about the fabric, means about the clothes that we use regularly at our homes in our daily life. So why do human beings need clothes but not the animals? Have you ever seen any dog wearing clothes like skirt, jeans? Have you ever seen any cow wearing frock? Have you ever seen any like cat wearing suit like coat, pant? Have you ever seen any yak wearing sweater? No, no? No, it's not there, because these animals already have the protective layer in their bodies. Like some animals have fur, as you can see in your book also in figure 3.1. There are various animals images are there, like sheep covered with its wool, polar bear and puppy is covered with the fur, the bird is covered with the feathers. Means nature have already provided the protecting layer in their bodies, so they don't need any kinds of clothing materials to protect their bodies. But when it comes to human beings, the human beings, we are not having any such kinds of protecting layer. That's why we need to use clothes to protect our body from extreme harsh weather conditions. Okay, that's why to protect ourselves from weather, from climate, we need to wear clothes. Okay, and the kind of clothes we are wearing depends that in which area we are living, in which season we are going. Okay, means the clothing of the summer season is totally different from the clothing of the winter season. Okay, students, now come to the variety of fabrics. Yes, you must have seen variety of fabrics, like I'm having here. This is a cotton fabric. We use cotton fabric to make our summer season's clothes. Second type of fabric here I am having is a woolen material. Woolen cloth we used to wear in the winter season. And next kind of fabric here I am having, like it is a very shiny fabric, because this is a silk. Okay, and this is a silk made from the silk. So there are too many types of fabrics we use to make our clothes. Okay, so and now there are some activities, and we have already done these activities, and some activities I am showing you later on in this video. Now come to the kinds of fabric. Basically, the fabrics are divided into two categories: plant fibers and animal fibers. Plant fibers like cotton and jute, and animal fibers like silk, because we get it from the silkworm. Wool, we get it from the sheep and goat. Means if the source is plant, then it will be known as a plant fiber, and if the source is animal, then it will be called as a animal fiber. Okay students, and now the fiber largely divided into again two categories: natural fiber and artificial fiber or synthetic fiber. Natural means made by nature, means plants or animals, and synthetic means artificial, means human being, made by human beings, like plastic, terylene, nylon, polyester. These are the fabrics, or you can say these are the fibers made from the human beings. So these were our artificial, or you can say synthetic fibers. Now we are going to study about some plant fibers, and among these the first one is cotton fiber. Students, there are various conditions required for the cultivation of cotton crop. So let me show you these things, that how and what are the conditions and the things required for the cultivation of these plants. So let's come and do this activity. So students, first of all, we'll discuss about the type of soil required for the germination of cotton plants. So as you can see in the this image, the color of the soil is black. Yes, the black soil is essential for the growth of cotton plants. Okay, so the soil, the kind of soil, the color of soil that you can easily see in this video is the black, and by the use of this black colored soil, farmer can easily grow their cotton plants. So after getting the knowledge of kind of soil required for the growth of cotton plants, let me tell you about the different regions, or you can say different states of India where the crop of cotton is cultivated. So it's in Gujarat, in Deccan and Malwa Plateau, and in some regions of Maharashtra and Rajasthan also. Okay, so in these states the crop of cotton is grown, and as well as in the Satluj Ganga region, Satluj Ganga basin area, or in that area also the cotton plants are grown. Okay, and for the growth of cotton plants, the climate required is mild, cool and dry, means neither too much colder regions and neither too much hotter area, means the moderate kind of climate, you can say, is essential for the growth of these plants. Okay, and as well as these plants doesn't require lots of water, just like the rice plant. Means if the field of the cotton plant, means that if that uh, area, that field gets stagnant water, then it will be harmful for these plants. So the climate, we can say, is moderate required, moderate or up towards the dry climate, and very less rainfall is required for the growth of these plants. Now after showing the seeds, after some time in the life cycle of these plants, the cotton flowers, means the flowers in these cotton plant starts growing, and these color of these flowers are either yellow or white. After some time, as the flower starts growing, after its fully maturation time, its all the petals falls down, and then only the small tiny green pod remain in that place. After some time, that small green pod, you can compare that green pod with the pea pod also. Okay, so after some time, that green pod starts developing, and gradually, slowly it just bursts out. And after it's bursting out, the cotton balls becomes visible, and you can see here, this is a raw cotton. Okay, means like this type of structure. As you can see in your book, page 828, there are the cotton balls in figure 3.9. You can see there are 3.9 and 3.8. You can see cotton balls, and these are the cotton balls. Okay, so you can see, you can resemble the image with this thing. So this is how a cotton ball looks like. Okay, and when these cotton balls become fully matured, the farmer used to pluck out these cotton balls, and the next process starts, and the next process is ginning. Let me show you the activity of ginning. First of all, farmers used to take one part of from the cotton ball, and then they start taking out fiber from the cotton ball, and slowly, like you can see here, the seeds. Yes, now you can see here, this cotton ball is having seed. Here it stood, here you can see it is a seed of cotton that I have just took out from this cotton ball. Again, one more seed is there. Yes, see, this is how the process of ginning is done. Means taking out cotton lint from the cotton balls and separating seeds from this is called ginning. Means taking out seed from the cotton is called ginning. Like I am doing here, I am just taking out cotton fiber and then separating the cotton seeds. And actually the here, now after the process of ginning, I have got two things. First, cotton fiber, and second one is cotton seeds. Okay, you can see cotton seeds are here. So the name of cotton seed is binola also. So these cotton seeds are called binola, and this segregated cotton fiber, now in this condition it is called lint. Okay, so this is lint and these seeds are binola. Okay, and these binola seeds are used as a fodder, as a food material for the cattle. Okay, so this is called the process of ginning. Means ginning is a process of removing cotton seeds from the cotton fiber is called ginning, and ginning is done either by hand, just I have done here, either by hand or with the help of machines, and the name of machine is roller gins. Okay, now I'm putting the seeds here. Now after the process of ginning, the next process, now these cotton lints are placed in the form of layers, and then the cotton bales are formed, and usually the weight of a cotton bales are up to 200 kg. As you can see the image of cotton bales in your book also, figure 3.10, page number A28. Okay, here you can see the cotton bales are there, and then it will be easier for the transportation of cotton in such manner. And after the transportation of cotton bales, the fiber is formed. And when the as we started the twisting this link, now you can see it starts becoming a thread like structure. And this is a process, and this process is called spinning. Okay, first ginning and second one is spinning, and ultimately we get the fiber that you must have seen at your homes also. The fiber, in our daily routine we used to say it thread, but now it's your homework to revise all the topics. Thank you.